Good day and welcome to Alena Media TV. We are broadcasting from Canada. I am Elsa Abraham, and in this episode we are bringing you editorial. Ethiopia massacre in Tigray fuels genocide fears. Let's go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll get our editorial in details. Kindly stay with us. Welcome back from that short break. Now, a deadly attack on Tigrayan people in northern Ethiopia has triggered warnings that violence against the ethnic group threatens to escalate into genocide. Witness in Abiy in the Temben region of central Tigray told the Telegraph that Ethiopian federal soldiers and Eritrean troops killed a total of 182 local people in a house-to-house massacre in the town and surrounding villages. The paper reports that most of the victims were said to be farmers whose bodies were then dumped in a nearby crater until their families and village elders begged Ethiopian soldiers to allow burials to take place. One survivor who escaped into nearby mountains described seeing dead bodies scattered, bodies half eaten by dogs, after returning to his village. The soldiers did not allow anyone to get close to the corpse. 26-year-old Tesfaye Gebremedin continued, but later they started to feel disturbed by the terrible smell of the dead bodies, so they covered the bodies with dust. Humanitarian crisis. Ethiopian federal troops first moved into Tigray in November with the stated aim of restoring the rule of law by depositing the Tigray People's Liberation Front. By deposing the Tigray People's Liberation Front, the TPLF, the regional ruling party. The deployment followed attacks on army bases by fighters loyal to the TPLF, which has been feuding with the government of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed since shortly after he came to power in 2018. The army's retaliatory attack was declared a success, but by late January, the TPLF had rallied and was waging an intensifying insurgency against federal forces, the Guardian reports. In a bid to quell the rebels, Nobel Peace Prize winner Abiy Ahmed allied with forces from Eritrea and ethnic militias from Tigray's neighboring Amhara region. But in what the newspaper describes as a sharp break from his government's previous declaration of victory, the Ethiopian leader admitted this week that his troops are fighting a difficult and tiresome guerrilla war. The junta we had eliminated within 3 weeks in November has now turned itself into a guerrilla force, mingled with farmers and started moving from place to place, he said. As the conflict escalates, millions of displaced people in the northern region of Tigray are now facing a further crisis, hunger, writes African correspondent Jamal Osmal. Violence has interrupted the main food supply routes, and farms have been destroyed during skirmishes between the military and the TPLF, he continues. Many Tigrayans have lost their income, and prices have increased for the little food still available to buy. The region's outburst leader, Gebremichael, has accused the government and its allies of waging a devastating and genocidal war against Tigray's indigenous people. The government has downplayed those claims, but pressure is mounting on Abiy to deliver aid to Tigray following the reports of the Abiy massacre and other allegations of mass executions and rapes by troops. Ethnic cleansing. The claims about indiscriminate violence against Tigrayans in Abiy are the latest in a deluge of credible reports pointing towards a systematic campaign of ethnic cleansing, rape, and man-made starvation, says the media. International aid organizations, Medicine Sans Frontiers, the MSF, last month gave CBS News an eyewitness account of how Ethiopian forces had executed civilians in cold blood after stopping a clearly marked MSF car and 2 public buses traveling behind it. The medic's driver was beaten but allowed back into the vehicle, according to the US broadcaster. But the passengers on the buses were offloaded, the men and women separated, and the men, who numbered at least 4, were shot at point-blank range. The media last week that researchers tracking the ongoing conflict believe that a total of almost 2,000 people have been killed in more than 150 massacres by the soldiers, paramilitaries, and insurgents in Tigray. The oldest victims were in their 90s, and the youngest were infants. Reports have also emerged of sexual violence being used as a deliberate weapon of war by Ethiopian and Eritrean troops, says the CNN. The broadcaster cites medical records and survivor testimony that describes how women are being gang raped, dragged, and held hostage, while doctors on the ground have warned of an alarming increase in sexual assault and rape cases since the assault on Tigray began in November. Victims who spoke to CNN reportedly said that the troops were on a self-proclaimed mission of retribution and were operating with near total impunity in the region. And many say that they were raped by Amara forces who told them they were intent on ethnically cleansing Tigray. The alleged rights abuses were condemned in a joint statement issued last month by high-profile United Nations figures, including Aid Chief McLocock, Human Rights Chief Michele Bachelet, and Refugee Chief Filippo Grandi, as well as World Health Organization Director General Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus. The signatories called for an independent investigation into conflict-related sexual violence in Tigray. The statement also stressed that humanitarian access to the region is essential, but getting aid staff and supplies into Tigray is becoming increasingly hazardous as the wave of atrocities committed by Ethiopian and Eritrean forces fuel retaliatory strikes and recruitment to the TPLF forces. As the fighting intensifies, streams of refugees from Tigray are flooding into neighboring Sudan. Reports last month that a further 300,000 people were camping in 6 schools, a local college, and any number of half-constructed buildings in the already beleaguered town of Shire in northern Ethiopia. Meanwhile, global observers are becoming increasingly worried about the wider ramifications. Many fear that the conflict could seriously destabilize Ethiopia. Previously, a linchpin of stability and Western security strategy is one of Africa's most volatile regions, says The Guardian. This is where we end today's episode on editorial. Please like, share, comment. Kindly go to our description section below. We are still doing our $1 a day challenge. Just donate to us. Kindly link below is the GoFundMe link and also the PayPal link as well. Just follow and input your details just to donate $1 a day to our channel so that we can bring you more news and access to all these humanitarian stories. Thanks for watching.